I'm Jason Broniak with CTN. Riverside Theater is home to PTD Productions, where they bring original and creative stories to life. The artwork behind you brings two people from different generations together by sharing their personalities with each other with laughs and a mystery to solve. With me is playwright Claire Gresning and director E̶ra Korycinski to discuss the play. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, without spoilers, we don't want to do spoiler alerts. E̶ra, can you give me a brief summary of the artwork is behind you?
Absolutely. A recent graduate from Sarah Lawrence College starts her new job as a museum security guard and finds out that she has a lot more in common with her much older guarding partner than previously expected. It's about the nature of art, the nature of love and human relationships, and the idea of a self, and really how the most complicated human relationship can be with oneself.
Claire, and since you wrote this story, tell me a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to write this particular play.
Sure. I'm originally from a town called Evanston outside Chicago. I grew up just with a really cool art scene all around me. I used to go to the Art Institute of Chicago all the time. I've been to the art museum up in Detroit by you all. And then I went to college out in New York, where I spent a lot of times at art museums. I feel like art is visual art's one of the most pure forms of art, just because it's the one I understand the least, or at least before I started writing this play. So there's this series of Black paintings by this painter called Ad Reinhardt that he painted in the last decade of his life, basically. And I used to look at these Black paintings in MoMA, and I was always just like, this is so stupid. I could not believe that he made them. I didn't understand them. And so I started writing this play because I kind of wanted to figure out what is beautiful about them. So I started writing these two people arguing about this Ad Reinhardt painting. And from there, the characters started to kind of take shape. And then I had a play.
That sounds interesting. E̶ra, what is your background? And I heard this is your first time directing. And what drew you to wanting to direct this play?
This is actually not my first time directing. This will be my
I'm
fifth
sorry.
time.
I thought this was your first time.
This is my first show that I've done with PTD Productions, where I've been a director. I worked with a theater company out of my college. I directed a few shows for them. I did It's a Wonderful Life during the pandemic over Zoom with just a bunch of freelance actors in my area. I've worked at Theater Nova, that's also in Ann Arbor, and this is just my first show with PTD.
Gotcha. And what inspired you, or what drew you to directing this play in particular?
I actually found this show while I was working for Tipping Point Theater out in Northville. We were looking to fill out their season, and it was originally what I contacted Claire about the first time, to be like, hey, can I do this show? They didn't really feel like it fit the theater's vibe, dare I say, out there. But I definitely kept a copy of it with me because I really appreciated its realistic character moments, honestly. I feel like one of the hardest things to do in playwriting is to have realistic dialogue that doesn't come off as too stilted, too high-minded, really. And just a lot of these realistic moments for characters really struck me, and the difficult decisions, and it really drew me in. So I definitely knew that it was one I wanted to get done at some point, and PTD agreed when I submitted it for review.
Well, that sounds interesting. I mean, normal conversations is always kind of the aspect of most plays where as a novice, I get lost on, as far as it's too over the top for me. But I mean, when it's a realistic conversation, that's when I get more drawn in. Claire, where does this play mostly take place? I know I said in the art museum and security guards, but did you have a particular spot in mind when you wrote this play?
Yeah, probably the Museum of Modern Art in New York. I spent a lot of time there, and I actually spent an entire day where I just watched some security guards. I kind of stalked them. So that's where it takes place in my head, but I don't think it needs to be localized. I think it could be anywhere in the country. Yeah.
And where none of the security guards are giving you a stink eye or anything, as you're staring at them, you're not trying to on a heist yourself or anything like that? Were you getting any weird looks when you're trying to do some research?
No, I mean, I think I'm just a small mousy little girl, so they didn't really notice. But yeah, it was definitely kind of boring, but that was informative into how I wanted to write the play.
Now, Ezra, the play replicates some famous pieces of art in an art museum. How does the PTD production is, and how would you direct a set for that type of play? Because that's got to be a very unique way to do it. It's not just any generic background. It's a very specific background.
We actually contacted a local artist in the area who's actually playing one of our background patrons in the show as well. Her name's Deborah Golden. She is actually recreating Ad Reinhardt's black painting for us, which I'm very excited about. And as for other pieces of art potentially in that museum area, that's the only one we're really going to have on the stage, but we're not hoping, we are turning the entire theater into a gallery of sorts with local artists also displaying their work to really kind of have that immersive experience for anyone who attends.
Oh, wow. So it's not just a play, it's a exhibit and a play kind of thrown in together like that. Do they kind of interact within the play, or is it just something, here's some art before the play and here's some art to enjoy as well? Or is it kind of the actors play off of it a little bit as well?
It's not really a separate thing. I wanted to create the ambiance of the audience actually being in the gallery because they're part of the art itself. You know, it's like how fire is the interaction between heat and something being flammable. I think art is the interaction between a piece and the person looking at it. It's the thing that happens in between. So I wanted the audience to kind of feel like they were part of the artwork that's happening, the artwork in question being the play itself. You know, they're part of it, they're in the space, they're the reason that it becomes a piece of art. So I wanted to bring that not just on the stage, but out into the theater itself.
Oh, wow. That is something different, because I always feel like with plays, it's always definitely like a boundary. Like you're like kind of like you're at home at TV, kind of watching within, you're not in the play itself, which I think that's pretty interesting.
I think that's what's so special about live theater, though, is that you have a live audience right there and you have a live performance right there. And I honestly wish more plays would try and, take advantage of that very special setup. You have an entire cast of characters, not the characters themselves, but people who come to see the show. And you can do a lot with that space without completely demolishing the fourth wall and making it kind of like an improv show. There are other interactions that can take place there, and that's something I really try and do in my work in theater.
That's very interesting. And now, Claire, has there been much communication or collaboration during the process? Maybe some pointers, like maybe the character is a little bit, a little feedback back and forth, and as far as what maybe some pointers of where the set is, or not set necessarily, but where the character's personality traits are, and maybe guiding Eẓra, through the play as far as to making it a little bit more accurate, a little bit what you had in mind of the play.
No, there's been none at all. This is my first time meeting Eẓra. But the fascinating thing is that the way that you're talking about my play is the way that I intended it to be read. I didn't know that you were turning the theater into a gallery, but I think that's what's exciting. I'm obviously a young playwright, you're a young director. We get to create the kind of theater that we want to, and it can be new and fresh, and not what you're talking about, which is like the theater I experienced growing up too, where it's kind of starchy, and you're at the theater, you're at a play, and you're watching it, and then you leave and you kind of forget about it. So it's been really exciting, honestly. I think this is one of the first works that I either haven't directed myself or known the director for a really long time. So one of the things I'm most excited about and why I'm coming out to IPSI is because I want to see how someone who's really never met me interprets my work. So it's really exciting.
Oh, that's a new aspect to your work there. That's interesting. Now, Eẓra, can you tell me a little bit about the cast and some of the characters that are involved in the play?
Yeah, absolutely. Our two leads, Ned and Tess, are played by Paul Bianchi and Carolyn Pierce. Ned is a self-described theater rat. He has worked pretty much every position there is in theater. He's written plays, he's done crew, he's acted, he's directed, he's designed, and you can really you really get a sense of that when he's in the room. He's fantastic to work with. He's very experienced, and it's been a real joy to direct him. And I believe Carolyn is much more of a newcomer. She's got a fantastic energy that really embodies Tess. She's almost, like sparklers on 4th of July. She's got this exuberance for the character that really comes across in all of these big moments that she has, including a very special monologue that I'm very excited for everyone to see. Yeah. The rest of the named cast of characters, we've got Pascal Casimir. He's playing Elliot, who is Tessa's fiance. He's very consistent and gives the character a really good heart and is really kind of the crux of Elliot and Tessa's relationship throughout the show. Camille Woods, who's actually I believe she's a Moth Grand Slam 2-time winner out in Ipsy. It's a spoken word storytelling competition. Wow. So very excited to have her in the show. It's been fun directing her, working from, that kind of emotional improv place to creating a character on stage. She plays Martha, who is Ned's wife in the show. Negan Bassaron is playing Tessa's boss and is a comedy queen, amazing instincts. I love working with her. And she's in the show for about one scene, and it is a scene that is just full of levity and light, which is absolutely not how I envisioned that scene going when I was first reading the play, but she came in and she killed it. And I was like, we got to just let her do what she wants with this. I trust her absolutely to just bring the laughter when the rest of the show isn't quite as comedic. And then lastly, we have Emmeline Riddle, who's playing Allie, Tessa's ex-girlfriend. She's got an amazing presence and just emotional sense to herself. Really watching her act affects me and Dina, even to this day in rehearsal, even though we've run through the show so many times at this point. They're a really fantastic group of people. And as for our patrons, I mentioned Deborah Golden earlier, who's our artist in residence, basically. Maria Hollowell, Blaise Bacardi, and Sky Earl are also playing patrons, as well as doing other miscellaneous background work. So we're really happy to have them with us. They've done a lot of work creating their own sort of patron personas that you'll actually see out in the gallery.
No, that's a long list of characters. Now, Claire, with some of these characters, were the inspiration of people that you met in the maybe at the art gallery or in your past, or maybe a little bit aspects of your own personality? Where do you get some of the inspiration for these characters?
Yeah, I mean, it's amalgamation of everyone I've ever met, right? And so I think Ned is based a lot off of some of the great teachers that I've had, actually, and the way that they approach art. And then, unfortunately, I think that there's a lot of Tess in me. So that's two. Buyers beware. But yeah.
Okay. And then, E̶ra, when it comes to play preparation, I'm a novice. All I know is from like TV, movies, things like that. So I'm assuming that's inaccurate times 10. So can you tell me what like the play preparations and maybe a little bit of the rehearsal process for someone who I have no clue? So like explain to me like it's kind of like a 5 scenario, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of play preparation is really just finding other people you can work with, I would say. And it's a lot of talking and just trying to figure out the kind of actors that you're working with, the kind of connections that they have with each other, trying to grow those connections, and then just getting designers to work with and seeing how they relate to the material and the things they would like to bring in. For example, we just had our prop designer finally come in. Her name is Lana, and she's had a ton of ideas for the show and just small things to bring in to really bring out character details that I wouldn't have thought of on my own. It's why I enjoy working with a team like this so much. I'm only one person's worth of ideas. But mostly just a lot of rehearsals and then some production meetings outside of that. It never feels super complicated until you're in tech week, and then you have an entire 2-page long list of last minute things you need to do, but it all gets done somehow, and it's amazing and incredible, and you have no idea what just happened.
sounds like kind of like you're prepping for a party, and it's like all the last minute things all of a sudden pop up right at the literally the last minute and then it's fine usually. That's kind of how it explains to me, right? It makes sense to me now after you explained that. Claire, you mentioned you might be going to you're going to the show. Do you get nervous for something like this, since like you're not performing per se, but it's your show? So like, what is your feelings when you watch your show being acted out?
Yeah, there's a lot of me in it. So it's hard if someone doesn't like it to not have it feel like a judgment call. But part of the fun part about art is sometimes seeing something bad and, talking trash about it to your friends afterwards. Good and bad experiences and good and bad reactions. It's better than a neutral one, in my opinion. So I trust E̶ra. I hope that my words also pull their weight.
And E̶ra, when is the show? And mentioned Claire, what particular show you're going to be? I guess you're going to be kind of doing a meet and greet yourself. So E̶ra, can you tell me when is the show period and where you can get tickets?
Yeah, absolutely. The show is premiering May 11th through the 20th. That's running Thursday through Sunday, that first weekend, and Wednesday through Saturday, the second weekend, with matinees on Sunday and Wednesday. Claire is actually going to be coming to our opening night that Thursday, May 11th, to see our show. Very exciting, and also do a talk back. Thursday nights are also pay what you can. So if you've got $2 and you want to come see the show and then tell Claire exactly how much you liked it, please do come on Thursday. Tickets can be reserved in advance at ptdproductions.com. You can also just buy them the night of the show at the Riverside Arts Center in Ypsi.
Excellent. And E̶ra, then Claire, or Claire, then E̶ra, whoever wants to take this question, why should people come out and see them play?
I think it's funny without being a stand-up routine, but it's also emotional without milking the same tropes that you see in a lot of dramas. It's got a lot of heart to it about the human relationships and their weirdness and complexities, and it's really got a cross-generational vibe to it. It's for older people, it's for younger people, it's about where you can meet in between. And I think it'll be a really unique theatrical experience for a lot of people who, as Claire said earlier, have probably only seen pretty static theater shows before, where that fourth wall is firmly in place, do not pass go, do not collect $200. And I really hope people will, come to the show for that kind of unique experience.
Yeah, I feel really grateful for PTD Productions and E̶ra for just finding my play and putting it up. I think that it's a really unique experience to see a world premiere, and you could tell me something at the talkback and it could honestly cause revision in the script. So it's really an opportunity to see a new work and interact with the new work in a way that I think is really rare. So that's why I think you should come.
That's good enough for me. I would sign me up, especially the pay as you go, and have the talk back and see what we have to offer. Thank you so much for your time, especially on the cross-country Zoom effort here. And quickly, one last time, where do you get those tickets again?
You're going to get them at ptdproductions.com. And you can also, I believe, you can reserve those early, or you can get them at the Riverside Arts Center at 76 North Huron Street in Ypsilanti the night of the show. There
you go. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll be looking forward to the play coming soon.
Yay!
Be sure to check out CTN's website at a2gov.org/CTN for more great programs and our services, and to subscribe at our YouTube channel and follow us on social media sites at CTN and Arbor. Thanks for watching.